The Middle East has seen the withdrawal of foreign forces from occupied territories after numerous attempts from the latter to expand its influence and presence in the region. In contrast to its previous endeavors to extend its dominance, Israel now finds itself grappling with the challenge of containing prolonged protests that have spawned additional regional military fronts, previously limited to just two. The United States, having engaged in the self-proclaimed war on terror, envisioned a new Middle East, only to witness its aspirations shatter before its very eyes. The war in 2006 served as a pivotal moment for the Israeli occupation government and its military, being a turning of significant magnitude. It represented the first major clash between a well-equipped army and a resistance movement. As a result, the equilibrium of deterrence has undergone a significant shift, leading to a reshuffling of power dynamics. With a single strategic change, the game can be swiftly brought to a decisive conclusion. Despite Washington's demands, Middle East nations are looking more at China and domestic affairs, while the United States fails to recognize the shifting reality. The Western world's historical reluctance to control Israeli occupation has been consequence-free. But the situation is escalating, and Israel is becoming more of a liability. Syria has regained its position in the Arab League and has received invitations to attend the Jeddah summit and also the upcoming COP28 meeting in Dubai, with President Bashar al-Assad also being personally invited. These developments directly contradict the US policy of isolating Syria's government and align with the increasing trend of regional shifts, unfavorable to the US. In the emerging multipolar world order, the United States government's behavior reflects disarray, seemingly assuming that others will unquestionably submit to its will. The failure to review its divide and conquer policy, particularly in relation to Saudi Arabia and Iran, is resulting in significant strategic setbacks. The US suffered a major loss watching its troops leave Afghanistan, with no strategic gains whatsoever. The same goes for Iraq, another battleground where US occupation forces were pushed out. The so-called war on terror agenda proved to be a resounding failure for the US. In Iraq, the United States has significantly reduced its official presence, highlighting its diminishing influence in the country. While facing limited options, the US aims to prevent a clear-cut defeat in the ongoing situation. Upon closer examination of the region, it becomes evident that the recent confrontational stance of the Zionist entity towards Lebanese Hezbollah is merely theatrical, intended to impress its domestic audience. Moreover, its war threats no longer evoke alarm among Arab populations. The recent assassination campaign by Israel in the Gaza Strip indicates that Tel Aviv has been deterred from engaging in significant escalations. The potential signaling of such attacks by Tel Aviv would indicate either severe pressure and near collapse of the current Israeli government, or a calculated step with some level of security, based on the belief that it would not lead to a widespread escalation on multiple fronts. The Israeli occupation not only lacks the ability to engage in full-scale aggression against Lebanon, but is also experiencing internal collapse due to prolonged protests against the government and its proposed judicial reform policy. Today, Israel is struggling to contain the occupation from within. A decade and 7 years ago, it was pushing to expand its presence in the region. Following September 11, 2001, the Bush administration initiated an ambitious policy aimed at reshaping the Middle East, with the intervention in Iraq serving as a catalyst for this transformation. Former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice expressed the idea during the 2006 war between Lebanon and Israel that urging Israel to accept a ceasefire would only reinstate the previous status quo rather than fostering the creation of a new Middle East. The 2006 war shattered the myths that formed the foundation of Israel's regional deterrent strategy and garnered sympathy from the international community, notably European states. While Washington claimed its hegemonic influence aimed at promoting democracy, the decline of its power has led to a fresh wave of peace and compromise. But today, the recent rapprochements and normalization of ties between Arab nations demonstrate that the region has proven otherwise. And more importantly, the recent shift in political dynamics powerfully illustrates that Israel's presence and influence in the area are rapidly approaching their end.